Our today's topic is system development methodologies. So today we'll check on business application development, SDLC models, the various SDLC phases, the IS auditor's role in project management, software development methods, system development tools and productivity aids, infrastructure development and acquisition practices, hardware and software acquisition, and system software acquisition. So what is business application development? So business application development, it speaks about the application development which obviously will be used in business. So it could be organization centric, where it would actually collect, collate, store, share information with the business users who would need to know about it. And it could be end user centric, where you would have different views of the data for performance optimization. Now there are various SDLC models. Basically, you have the one which is known as the waterfall model. So this is the old or the traditional model. So this is generally used where the requirements are stable and where things do not change, where there is a proper sequential approach. You have all the stages of SDLC, and ultimately at the end of the day there is a life cycle verification approach which is there. You have another method which is known as V-shaped, where the unit testing is done immediately after a program is written. You have another method which is known as the iterative method. This is a cyclical process, and these are tested in small iterations. So the iterations could be in terms of a delta, and it could be for the entire application slowly as it is getting built and it is getting tested. So this flow will actually continue, and you would have a proper result at the end, but the sequence would be in iterations. Now, what are the various SDLC phases? So you have a first phase which starts with the feasibility study. So if a software is getting developed, so it will obviously require that a proper benefit and solution area is actually undertaken. So that is done in this feasibility study area. Requirements definition. Here, specific business requirements are defined. So this will actually answer what will the system give, what is it required for, what will it do, and then would come software selection and acquisition. So is it a question of acquiring a software, or it is a question of selecting the software? So that those areas could be evolved here. And design, so in the design area it would analyze the risks which it would bring in from business projects and strategic, so all those kind of risks. So ERD, what's ERD? ERD actually depicts the system's data and how this data is interrelate. So there are data points across in a system. So how are these relations, interrelations inside these data points? Software baselining is very important. There are, I have found that importance is given during Cisa in this. So software baselining actually is a very critical point. So this actually is that cutoff point in the design where if some user requirements are to be changed, it will act to again go in through a review process. So this is sort of a design freeze part in terms of time and cost, and it is freezed here. So then you have configuration, so where you define, track and control the changes. Development, and the coding, debugging, user procedures are done. Coding, there are many coding languages. It could be COBOL, it could be C, Java, Python, Perl. Depending upon the Cobra, depending upon the kind of package or the application that has been built. Program debugging, so you would have the logic path monitors where a sequence of events performed by the program, you would actually see if there are any logical errors into it. That would be followed to see if there are any logic errors to it. So that would constitute the logic path monitors. This is from a program debugging perspective. You would, to debug, you would also have a memory dump where a picture of the internal memory's content at any given point of time is taken. Then you could check the output analyzers where the execution for accuracy is tested. So final testing and implementation UAT is conducted and those things are tested. Post implementation review is done. Now, what is the IS auditor's role in this SDLC phases and project? So IS auditor has to see what is the oversight which is there from the project committee or board. What are the risk management methods so that the risks are properly spotted and the risks do not percolate out somewhere else within the project? What is the issue management that is there? How is cost management done? What is the process for planning and dependency managing? How are processes reported back to the senior management? What is the change control process? What is the stakeholder management involvement? And how is the sign-off process given? So there are various methods or steps, how to go about software development. So you could first have a prototype. A prototype of the software is built, so that would be the prototype. You could have a rapid application development where the time is very less. You could have a rapid development method. You would have an agile development where possibly the changes are very frequent. So there you could have an agile method being brought in. You could have an object oriented system development where and the component based where the objects and the components are already available and it becomes very easy. You could have a web based development. You could have a software re-engineering done, or you could have a reverse re-engineering to see, okay, this is how the steps are from bottom to top, so it would go about that way. A new method now is DevOps, which is again it could be done that way. Business process re-engineering could be brought in so as to do this method, and also a benchmarking process. So what are the various tools and the productivity aids which help in this for the system development? So you could have a computer aided software engineering. So CAD. So that could, that could actually form in your this part. You could have code generators, or it could have fourth generation languages. Now, over and above this, you would have infrastructure development or acquisition practices. What are those? So if an infrastructure has to be developed or acquired, what are the practices which are involved there? So first, it would start with reviewing of the existing architecture. So what is the existing architecture? What is the analysis and the design part of it? Then the drafting of the functional requirements would come in. Post that is done, then the vendor and product selection would happen. Then functional requirements would be drafted and written out. The proof of concept would be developed. And implementation of the entire planning for the implementation of the entire infrastructure will be brought out. You would have a procurement phase out here. You would have a delivery time and an installation plan. Hardware software acquisition. So if a hardware or a software is getting acquired, what would be the points one would be actually looking for? So it would be the CPU speed, it would be the number of CPUs that is there, it could be the peripheral devices, how many peripheral devices are there, operating system software, what is there, what are the compilers out there, what are the training requirements that would be required for the existing staff to go to that level so as to use that software, or the staffing levels, what would be required, what kind of staffing would be required. It could be testimonials of other users if they are giving in something. Are there provisions for competitive bidding so that you have the best bid, the best quality coming in there? Analysis of hardware and software upgrade capability. So if an upgrade has to happen eventually, and generally most softwares do have that, what is the capability out there? Of course, the price negotiation part of it, analysis of security and control facilities, what are there? Turnaround time, how fast it is to turn around, response time, system reaction time, throughput, workload, compatibility, capacity, and utilization. So system software acquisition. So if a system software is getting acquired, what are the points that I would be looking for? So it would be the business and functional and technical needs with those specifications. Cost and benefits. So This is the amount of cost that I am putting in. What is the benefit that I am getting out from it? Security. How are the security features built inside it? Training and hiring. How is the training for this particular software available, and how is the hiring for it? What are the future growth needs? Impact on system and network performance. How is the current system and network performance is going to be impacted with this? Is it an open source or is it a proprietary code? So with this, we come to an end of today's session. Thanks everyone for hearing me out.